Well, you heard this week from the U.S. Attorney General that now there are going to be fewer federal prosecutions of people who are using medical marijuana in states, 13 states where it is perfectly legal in which to do so. Well, now there are a lot of expressed concerns about, will this open up the gateway for the decriminalization of street drugs? Well, here are some of the worries that you expressed on the street.
I think it's a good idea. I have a friend that's using it right now. She's going through cancer treatments, and it's helping her immensely.
I'm definitely against it, because I don't think the government can enforce the rules that's going to go on. I think it's going to broaden out, it's going to get out of hand, and I just don't think that it's a good move.
Makes absolute sense to me. We waste a lot of resources prosecuting victimless crime like that.
I really don't think it's a good idea. I think that there might be a misuse of it.
I think if the federal government steps back, it may actually allow other states to be less fearful of repercussions, and so look more into the research that's available for medical marijuana use.
All right, we're hearing from you as well at home on my blog and on Facebook. We'll get to some of your questions and comments and pose them to some of our invited guests.
The 1999 Institute of Medicine study clearly showed that while there may be some beneficial components of cannabinoids, there certainly will never be a benefit to smoking or otherwise using crude marijuana. You can't control the dose.
Okay.
You can't control the impurities, and we can't control the intoxicating effect. And lastly, with all due respect, and I think Dr. Voth as a scientist could weigh in on this, this difference between sativa and indica is hogwash. It doesn't exist. Marijuana is marijuana.
But I think at this point, we're not necessarily going to be arguing whether it is effective or not, because at this point, there are 13 states that already say they've given the green light to it. But now with this federal lifting or mellowing of regulations on pursuing people in a prosecutorial way, this really might mean that more states might get a little bit more serious about considering joining the bandwagon of those 13. So I wonder, Ron and Doctor, I know you've probably seen this before, but Ron, if you're familiar with the journey of going to a dispensary. I saw this for the first time when looking at this iReport and reading about people who are going to these dispensaries. At the top of the show, we showed this one young man, Rob Cabrera. He talked about how at ease he felt about going to a dispensary to get his marijuana to alleviate his back pain. And let's now revisit his journey into the dispensary and see what happens once he goes inside. Let's take a peek.
They just buzz me in. Security is very important at the cannabis clubs. When we go there, they have what's called a manhole. Depending on if the camera's watching you or not, you might have to push a button, which is essentially a doorbell. How you doing? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is where they put all the samples. There's basically two different kinds of cannabis, sativa and indica, depending on your needs. If you have pain or you have trouble sleeping, you're probably going to want to use an indica. So they have them labeled as such. And they come in different varieties, just like anything else is. Different flavors, different effects. Right there's a breath strip. You put it on your tongue and it melts, and they'll provide your medication to you.
All right, so that was Ron Cabrera's journey into a dispensary there in LA County. So Ron, I don't know if you're seeing that for the first time or seeing what that is like to go to sort of like a pharmacy for marijuana. What concerns you about that, and whether or not more dispensaries might find their way into jurisdictions across the country? All right. So we're talking about mellowing on medical marijuana. So your doctor says to you, you know what, to help alleviate that pain, I'm going to prescribe or recommend to you medical marijuana. And you live in any one of the 13 states where it is perfectly legal, medical marijuana, that is. So now what? What do you do? Apparently in some states they have dispensaries, and when you go there, you not only have an ID card that says, I'm a legitimate patient who is allowed to use this marijuana for medicinal purposes, but you also have a selection. Take a look at this iReport that was filed by Rob Cabrera, showing us what happens once he went inside.
Cookie bars, we have sugar cookies, we have apple pies, chocolate chip cookies, brownies, caramel corn, popcorn, cheesecake on a stick, cocoa passions, these are basically Rice Krispie treats and brownies, carrot cakes, milk chocolate toffee bars, peanut butter cups. It's just plain old butter. So you can put it on your toast, you can put it on your pancakes, you can mix it in with your food.
So lots of ways in which to ingest marijuana, as you see right there in that one dispensary that's actually in LA County. So we've invited a couple of people who are very familiar with the dispensary. Deborah Pottle is one. She's a former corrections officer, and she is a medical marijuana user. She's joining us. Good to see you. And Brad Senesak. I was afraid I was going to mess up your last name. Senesak. I hope I got it right this time. He is a spokesperson for a Berkeley area dispensary. Good to see both of you. All right, Deborah, let me begin with you because, real quick, he says, it would seem to me that the government could serve its primary role of protecting society much better than by persecuting those in the pot culture. So we really are hearing an incredible sentiment from a lot of folks. And as you said, that Gallup poll, 44% say they're in favor of medical marijuana. We'll have more on this topic tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern Time.